Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Wednesday, August 5th, 11 p.m. Mountain Time 2020. It's not funny. You're looking at the Greenland total surface mass ice budget. That surface mass budget is the weakest melt season in years. Do you hear the mainstream calling on that? I doubt it. Another big story. Yes. Record-setting summer chill engulfs the U.S. Do you hear anything on the mainstream? I doubt it. Severe weather and fire weather in the West at the same time. But the big story, a Russian cargo ship of dangerous ammonium nitrate stranded in the Beirut port for years, kills over 100 and injures thousands. Keep calm. It's boom time for real. Now, major Schuylkill flooding from Isaias likely caused millions in Philly damage. I was the only person to report on that before it happened, to warn the public. Still know nothing but a peep from those East Coast shills that call themselves reporters. I simply went to the data sets, told you it was going to happen, and they can only report on the aftermath. And that's the unfortunate thing. Now, the flooding didn't begin there. It began south of there, the entire East Coast being pummeled. But my stomping grounds got hit the worst. Here we see a family rescued from a car trapped in flooded streets in Richmond, which began the debacle. Now, the major flooding from Isaias is over, but standing water still remains in some spots. 24 hours tropical storm Isaias passed through the region. We're talking southeastern Pennsylvania. Cleanup efforts are underway, and utility services are working to restore power. Some hard-hit spots, particularly Long Beach Island, may be without power for days. I predicted this to my partner, Leah. I told her to call her dad and warn him of the potential effects. About 200 people were rescued from flooded areas in Philly, mostly in East Wick and Manayunk, along the Schuylkill, where the Manayunk Brewery got completely decimated. And here, Schuylkill River floods Manayunk. And I even mentioned that was going to happen. But just to my partner. So there's many things that I know that you don't know that we talk about on the regs. Look at water flowing down this street here in Philadelphia there. Anyway, this is all because cosmic rays have reached a new maximum. And they reached it as early as a year ago. And it's ongoing. Now, the great geomagnetic storm of May 1921, if it happens during a time when the magnetosphere has waned and cosmic rays are coming in like this, well, there'll be a blackout like never seen before. So hopefully you have long-term storage, Faraday cages, and other ideas in place to start preparing for what is going to happen eventually. Now, let's talk about wildfire. In the West, Apple Fire destroys 4 homes, 8 other structures, containment to 20%. This is just one of the many gigantic fires burning in the West that are caused by idiots like you, humans, that have been blocked up and masked and gagged. Now they want to get out and light the forest on fire because they have no idea what they're doing. The Apple Fire, ignited by hot debris from a vehicle's faulty exhaust, has destroyed 12 structures, 4 of them homes, authorities said Tuesday, August 4th. There I am. Welcome to the show, folks. Always good to see you. Always good to show you Mia. And let's just stop that from getting there. Oh, let's talk about the Apple Fire. Yes, the blaze, which started Friday before 5 p.m. in Riverside County, Cherry Valley, has scorched 42 square miles of mostly chaparral and bush. Much of it is in the San Bernardino National Forest. Estimated 2,586 homes in several communities have been forced to evacuate, affecting over 8,000 people. Members of the CAL FIRE network put out hotspots near the Oak Glen Conservation Camp in the picture you're looking at here. And some evacuations were lifted Tuesday afternoon for areas of Riverside County. Officials with the San Bernardino National Forest announced on Twitter. So that's good news there. More fires are burning, though. Vehicle ignites a 9,500-acre wildfire in San Saba County. Texas A&M Forest Service asked motorists to be alert. And if you light a fire, just don't drive away. Call somebody. Pick up the banana phone. Do it. Firefighters from across the state are battling the still growing human-caused maize fire. Oh, human-caused. Another one. Wow. In San Fabian counties, the fire ignited on August 1st, 16 miles east of Brady. It's the result of an individual parking and idling the vehicle while he smoked some in an area he should never been. Another fire, Pine Gulch fire, impacts DBQ residents, 5% contained, which means it's not contained. Now, the Pine Gulch fire blocked the sunlight northwest of Tuesday. The latest report says the fire is over 9,200 acres, and a new firefighting team has been called in to help. Here's the Pine Gulch fire, only 5% contained, moving rapidly and blocking out the sun. The smoke from the Pine Gulch fire blocked the sunlight northwest of DBQ Tuesday. The latest report says the fire is over 9,200 acres. This is in Colorado, Grand Junction area, in a city with a weird name. Now, Colorado State University raises the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season forecast to 24 named storms. Yes, up and away, second most on record ever pre-planned. And not a single one created by HARP. Severe weather in the high plains, heavy rain, flood concerns in parts of the east. Isolated strong to severe storms are possible, with the possibility of severe gusts and hail from Montana southward through the central high plains and into portions of the Texas panhandle, as they're dealing with record cold temperatures, up to 18 to 25 degrees below normal for most of the central Craton there. Hello, Iowa! You woke up to 54 degrees, Missouri as well. Hello, chilly in the Nickas. We woke up to 45 here, which is not normal in the middle of August. Hello, or the beginning, however you want to look at it. A stationary front may bring the threat of thunderstorms with localized damaging gusts, more heavy rain and flash flooding to the Carolinas and mid-Atlantic, which is the last thing that they need. Now let's talk about some of the things that the mainstream will never cover. Record-setting summer chill engulfs the U.S. Take a look at the temperature anomaly map above. The brutal fall-like temperatures that have infected much of the con U.S. since Saturday will continue to slam home the global cooling message for the remainder of the week. All-time record lows are likely to tumble. We have some of the early data, and here you can see the temperature anomaly map showing that area of extreme cold, East Nebraska, Arkansas, and Missouri. Missouri had a low of 58 just the other night. 56 is the record, set back in 1974. Columbus, Missouri, 55. 50 is the record back in 1894. 55 in Quincy, Illinois. 52 is the record back in 1948. You picking it up? I just put it down. Big freeze begins buffeting Australia. Tasmania transformed into a winter wonderland. Snow in Victoria. Perth records its coldest August day since 1968. A code blue is issued in South Australia. Is that what that is? I hope so. Temperatures have started plummeting across Australia, with multiple cold fronts already delivering a shrimp on the barbie, heavy snow down to exceptionally low levels. And the bomb is promising much more where that came from. As reported by TND, snow has fallen in central Victoria and on the fringes of Hobart as a wintry blast continues to shift across Australia's southeast. Flurries down as low as 100 meters have been registered. I think I'm in England right now. Right, in central Victoria, Ballarat and Bungayung woke up snow Tuesday morning with the forecast for eastern Melbourne late in the day. There were also reports of the snow on the Great Ocean Road in Victoria. Is that more Aussie? I don't know. It's cold there. It's even worse. A historic event, Aussie cities blanketed in snow for the first time in 40 years. That's 4 decades for many of you that didn't take math. Australia's ever-intensifying Antarctic blast is beginning to deliver. This morning on August 5th, swathes of Tasmania received first ever stellar snow for 40 years. Let me reiterate. This morning, August 5th, swashes, are they swatches? Are they swashes? Areas, huge regions, for that matter, of Tasmania received the first settling snow for 40 years. That means they're so settled in swatches, or swathes. Yes, and it's stuck like a prick on a dick of a pick. As picked up by Yahoo News Australia, Tasmania riverside city of Launceston was hammered by snow on Tuesday evening as the mercury in the airport sank below zero just after 9 p.m. The bomb said the setting snow in Tasmania North as weather is even not seen for some 40 years. Apparently it's due to global warming. A very rare event indeed. Where's Al Gore when you need him? Shut up, Al! Get in your hole! And then pull the new drywall over top of it. Jesus. Thank God we spray foamed it. A staggering 23 Norwegian weather stations logged their coldest ever July temperature last month, which would be the month of July. 23 Norwegian weather stations logging their coldest temperature ever. July 2020 was historic cold throughout Scandinavia and across much of Europe for that matter. The Nordic station in Norway's average temperature came out 0.6 C below norm, making the country's coldest July in 50 years. As reported by NTB.no, a staggering 23 weather stations measured their lowest ever July temperature, mainly in Viken in Vestland. Du hast ein kleines Schneewutzen? To boot, 39 records were set for the lowest average July temperature. In addition, the bone-chilling low of negative 7.2 C logged in Sogndalsfjallhetta went down as Norway's coldest July temperature ever recorded, which means it was the lowest temperature ever recorded in all of time, which goes like forever. So if you, in fact, are the lowest temperature ever in July forever, that would be the lowest, well, for a boom ever. For a boom ever, you ask. Now let's talk about some more facts. Take a look at this. This is the surface mass budget of Greenland today. Hello. And it goes, and then when I saw this about a week ago, come up above the baseline for the low and reach almost to the building area and maintaining this, less than 2 gigatons of loss per day for a month. Someone's going to have to take names for this because this is the least amount of ice lost in a single year in Greenland since the beginning of global warming. It's like, I hear like Mary Greeley crickets in the climate catastrophe squad. So, what this means for you is that you have tons of information over here to stick right in there. So if you're in one of those global warming rooms or you like to do this for fun, be like, how come the surface Greenland mass ice budget is higher than it's ever been? And you can explain to them that means that there is no melting. Last year, we put this dip down here, and then the whole mainstream was like, the most ice melt ever! Well, this year it's the least ice melt ever in decades since the global warming scare began. Yet not a single word over the last 4 weeks from the mainstream climate change idiots. I have actually seen in the last 4 weeks data saying that there are glaciers melting and Greenland is, we're all going to die. It is the least amount of ice ever melted off Greenland since it was the Earth was cooling. Who are they fooling? No one. Seismic update. Boom! 5.1 near the coast of Honshu, Japan. About to uptick the Fukushima and make everyone Fukushima. The problem with this is it's 177 Fukushima kilometers below the surface, which may come up to the surface in Bumashima at the Fuka level. 5, 6 or greater in the next 12 to 24 hours. Keep an eye on that. Let's move our eyes over to the eastern portion of the U.S. Yes, and we're looking at the 2.5 kilometer west-northwest of Marston, Missouri. And you know what that means, kids. That is the New Madrid, and that means boom time. Yeah, because we're waiting for the New Madrid to fault. So if we simply come over here and get some details, close that, push this button, roll up there, push another button, and just go boom, we will melt down the computer. But it's for the best of both worlds. What we're going to show you is that there have literally been a cacophony of explosions and quakes in Oklahoma, but that's not what we're concerned with. The east coast of the U.S., we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and that is the tipping point, which I've been calling for 3 years now. Once we hit 13 quakes in a 7-day period, east of the Continental Divide, east of the fracking areas, we need to start looking at an uptick. So we're looking at an uptick on the New Madrid with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quakes in the New Madrid area and 5 other quakes up the Appalachian Fault Zone. So something is shifting, something is afoot here, and we're going to keep a close eye on it. Nothing major will develop anytime soon before we see a bigger uptick in minor quakes like the grouping I'm showing you here. So don't get your panties in a bunch quite yet, but proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance, so be prepared. Worldwide volcano news update. Now, nothing spectacular is happening worldwide, but we need to take note at Nishinoshima, which has been continuously outgassing from 12 to 19,000 feet continuously for days. This is going to add some cooling effect to the planet, which we're seeing right now in the central U.S. in the beginning of August. Now, this video is going long, longest video in a while. Solar flares are predicted by a new model, which is good news for us, because in the waning magnetosphere, in the magnetic reversal or excursion we're living, we need some good information about when this magnetic excursion will occur. If the magnetic fields start waning more quickly, we need to be aware of that. But the most important thing you should be aware of is cosmic ray maximum, and the least amount of magnetic shielding possible means the smallest perturbations in space weather equal the biggest effects. Now, the biggest effects to you and your family and your future are going to be perturbations to the grid, where in an instant, the solar wind, you can hear that snap, a coronal mass ejection could literally throw us back into the Stone Age for a year or more, 3 years, 7 years. Anyone's guess. But if it's local, if it takes out a whole section of the planet, what are you going to do? There'll be no more electricity, no more bill paying, no more of that. So big thumbs up there. No way to collect debt, no way to pay rent. And you better have some guns and bullets, because if people start to think they're going to take back their space or whatever, you need to protect yourself. So think about it. What if the power went off for 3 years? Are you ready to defend your apartment, your complex, your house, your home, your homestead? Do you have enough food? Do you know how to wild harvest? Do you know how to hunt? Do you know how to fish? Do you know how to plant? Do you have dry goods? Do you have enough food for 3 years? What do you have? Go over this scenario in your brain tonight. What if the electric goes off for 3 years? What will I do? Who are my allies? What are my assets? What do I need to do and learn moving forward? And do it now, because you don't have any more time. Massive ancient temple complex may lurk beneath the famous Northern Ireland fault. Well, based on this, it does. And we don't even need to speculate. Just need to start digging. I'll leave you links below. That's an awesome article. Watch Carl Sagan prove flat earthers are wrong with just a piece of cardboard. This is how stupid flat earthers are. They just don't want to learn geometry or shadows. Now, let's really quick get to the proof. According to an experiment conducted by an astronomer thousands of years ago and repeated by astrophysicist Carl Sagan, the idea of the Earth being in the shape of a circle can easily be proven by merely tracking shadows. And this was done, well, a very long time ago. He explained in a 1980 episode, and that's not the long time ago we're talking about, of his popular TV series, The Cosmos, and used a cardboard map to elaborate the experiment Eratosthenes first conducted before he set out to determine the circumference of the Earth all those moons ago. Now here's a map of ancient Egypt. I've inserted 2 sticks or obelisks, one up here in Alexandria and one down here in Scene, known today as Aswan. Now, if at a certain point each stick casts no shadow at all, that's perfectly easy to understand, provided that the Earth is flat. But if the shadow at Scene is a certain length, and the shadow at Alexandria is the same length, that also makes sense on a flat Earth. But how could it be that Eratosthenes asked, at the same instant there was no shadow at Scene and a very substantial shadow at Alexandria? The only answer was that the surface of the Earth is curved. Not only that, but the greater the curvature, the bigger the difference in the length of the shadows. Wow. We call that non-Euclidean geometry these days. Sine, cosine, tangent. And a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Or the Pythagorean theorem. But I digress. Everything at the grocery store is getting more expensive, and that means you need more money. And if you listened to me about 6 months ago and bought some cryptocurrency or precious metals, you have twice as much money as you had back then in just a half a year. In fact, Bitcoin prices just rose 3% today as gold trades above 2,000 for the first time in a very, very long time. In fact, I told investors on our channel to buy silver when it was $13.40, and it went above $26 today. That means you doubled your money. I told people to buy Litecoin at $29. It's almost at 60. Again, it might be above there right now. You've doubled your money. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance in the dystopian future you're living. You're going to have to think outside of the box. Invest in different ways. The most important investment in your future is learning to grow food and wild harvest. Learn how to hunt and fish. Learn about wild edibles in your region and mushrooms and other things that you can go out into the woods and collect yourself. Without these hedges, your future looks bleak. With all of these in place and other esoteric knowledge, including meditation and other types of spiritual awareness, that will only give you a hedge. Altogether, add this with community and living with a base of like-minded people in an area with abundance in natural wildlife, flora, and fauna, like where we are, well, your odds of surviving and thriving in the future that we're living are very high. So we recommend that very highly. Hope you got something out of the video. Times are changing rapidly. The mainstream and the cabal are using the pandemic to distort you, to get you off your kilter, to give you a mental illness that may make you depressed and less likely to want to do the things that I just discussed. But I implore you to go out into the woods, social distance, be alone, and Shinrin-yoku. Tap into that energy in the forest and listen. Listen with your soul. Listen with your heart like you never have before. Fill the void in your chest, full with love and knowledge, which you can gain without reading a book. You just need to be willing to accept it. It may not come quickly. It may come slowly and in pieces, but it will come if you ask for it. That is my wisdom. Share this with like-minded people. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Never give up. The more you lose, the better you become, and the more you will eventually win. We love each and every one of you. Be safe.